Hello, BookTube. Welcome back to my bookshelf tours. And yes, we are still very much in the 1800s and on the floor too. So ignore all of that and all that there on. Literally, don't worry about that because that's not what we're talking about today. We're ending the 1800s off. We've still got two shelves to go through that you can't see. But yeah, so again, these are in chronological order, or at least attempted, because what I like doing extra work for myself. But we last ended off with Romola by George Eliot, which is an underrated gem in my opinion as a George Eliot simp. But let's move on. So the first one we have here is Sylvia's Lovers by Elizabeth Gaskell. No one talks about this book. I personally really love it, and pick it up. It's Elizabeth Gaskell. She's incredible. We love Gaskell. Then we have the final novel here by Mr. Dahl's Chickens, our mutual friend. His best novel, in my opinion. His last complete novel. We'll see The Mystery of Edward Drood pop up a bit later, and I think I really still love Edward Drood. But yeah, his last novel is best, in my opinion. And it is interesting having your books arranged chronologically because you get to see, especially once you get to novels where it just has a wider span of time. You can see authors like Dickens on my shelf who literally wrote for decades and decades and decades, and have take up such large spaces. Where with some authors like I'm trying to look at who, like the Brontes, for example, literally don't have any because they didn't last that long, as they didn't have long careers. But Dickens obviously did, and Gaskell too, and Eliot. But you get to see, especially as you get to through this big shelf here, there's going to be some final novels by some big famous Victorian authors, and Our Mutual Friend is probably the last big novel by Dickens, obviously. But like we'll see as we keep going who else is also has their final novel in here. Where we have some Jules Verne. Now you may think, Andrew, you don't really look like someone that loves Jules Verne, but I really do. I have the Oxford editions here. This is Journey to the Center of the Earth. Not my favorite Dickens, but I love this cover so much. They're so illustrated and just so gorgeous. And then we have more Dostoevsky here. This is Notes from the Underground and a double. Weird mixture of the two, like, written very two different time periods in Dostoevsky's life. But essential reading. So yeah, we have that. And then we have some more Anthony Trollope. This is Can You Forgive Her? I haven't read this one yet. Then we have an underrated George Eliot book, in my opinion, and that is Felix Holt the Radical. Said no one ever. This is George Eliot doing political based novels, and I love it so much. So check out my George Eliot ranking. This is just such a fun novel for me. Said no one ever, but I do. I really love it. And then speaking of final novels, we have Elizabeth Gaskell's final novel here, Wives and Daughters. Incredible. Probably in my top 3 favorite Gaskells. I think Mary Barton and North and South edge just a bit more out compared to Wives and Daughters, but Wives and Daughters grows on me the more and more I think about it. But I love Gaskell. She can do no wrong, in my opinion. So, rest in peace, Gaskell. Then we have Crime Punishment, of course, by Dostoevsky. Controversially, you will see a lot of these David Macduff translations. They're not my favorite. This is going to be controversial. I love the Constance Garnett's translation of Dostoevsky. I think they're beautiful. They're lyrical. They're just so approachable and fun. Obviously there's probably more ones that better translate what Dostoevsky actually said. We all know how she was as translator, but I love her translations, and we'll see that going forward, especially once we get to Translation Station over there. But yeah, so we have Crime and Punishment. Then we have The Gambler and Other Stories too. We have that. Then we have a little novel that was released back then in the year. It doesn't say, but I always forget what year, and I feel bad. I don't know what year, 1860s-ish. War and Peace by Mr. Leo Tolstoy himself. This is the updated mod translation. I haven't read this translation. Last year I reread War and Peace and instantly fell in love with the Constance Garnett translation. I prefer any day over the Pavilion Balakonsky edition. I love War and Peace and I love Constance Garnett. So I do have this one here, and the notes in it are really good as well. And even though it is very annoying how they translate the French and just leave it to the back, which is so annoying. But anyway, we have my favourite Jules Verne novel, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Incredible cover. I read this book every year. I don't even know how many times I've read 20,000 Leagues at this point. We have that. Then we have some more Anthony Trollope. We have He Knew He Was Right. I haven't read this one yet. You realise I haven't read a lot of Anthony Trollope. He's one of the big Victorian authors I just haven't gotten to yet. But moving on, we have my favourite Flaubert novel, Sentimental Education. People love Madame Bovary, and I get it, but I just prefer Sentimental Education a bit more. Then we have The Idiot by Dostoevsky. I've read this. I read it last year, I think, and yeah, it was really good. Not my favourite by him, but it's good to read. Keep on going with the big ones he wrote. Then we have The Mystery of Edwin Drood by Darl's Chickens. He's never finished it. Would have been really interesting to see where this plot would have ended up, really. And because we don't have notes or anything about how Dickens planned out his novels, especially Edwin Drood, we will never know. But there has been obviously people trying to rewrite it and give it an ending and all that stuff, which I haven't read yet. Then we have a diva, absolute slay of a book, and that is Middlemarch by George Eliot. What do you want me to say? It's literally Middlemarch, probably one of my easily top 3 favorite books ever written. It's too good. I don't even deserve to pick it up. I've read it probably twice-ish, but yeah, I love it so much. Then we have, even just as great, The Descent of Man by Charles Darwin, one of the most fiercest non-fiction books ever written. You thought the Origin of Species was controversial. Little did you know he pointed that finger straight back at humans, and it's just so interesting. I know he done another book after The Descent of Man, obviously, and it was like a spare chapter he expanded on and made it into a book after Descent of Man. So I know Penguin does that, but this is pretty much the end of Charles Darwin of what I have. I don't have any of his other stuff. I really should, because I love reading them. But I love The Descent of Man. So we have that, and then enter a new author into this picture, and that is a little author named Thomas Hardy with Desperate Remedies. I have a love-hate relationship with Hardy. I think his first handful of novels, he was so desperately trying to write in like sensation, like kind of like a Wilkie Collins and all that, and he just fumbled for me, to be honest. But once oh my god, what's the novel? I can't remember it. Far from the Madding Crowd. Once he writes that, all the way until the end of his career, when he gets into like The Well Beloved and Tess and Judy Obscure, when he purposely wrote bad novels, which I hate. I hate those 3 books so much. But the in-between of Hardy is peak Hardy for me. But again, he was such a better poet than he ever was a novelist, like any day. So, but I do have Desperate Remedies. Probably 2 years ago now, or maybe 3, or I don't know. I read all of his novels. I've done them like once a weekend because his novels are really short for a Victorian author, and I do really appreciate that. But yeah, we have Desperate Remedies, which is him very much trying to be a poor man's Wilkie Collins, in my opinion. But so we have his debut there. And then we have the I can't say a word, Diamonds, and more Anthony Trollope I haven't read. Then we randomly have For the Term of His Natural Life by Marcus Clarke. I've talked about this on the Auslit 101. Essential reading. If you want any Australian books, pick it up. Literally, it's incredible. Then Hardy's second novel here. Again, forgettable for me. I haven't read it in a while, but it's Under the Greenwood Tree. It's fine. Then we have more Dostoevsky. And we have Demons, which I haven't read yet. It's like the one major Dostoevsky book I haven't read. And so yeah, that's ready to go. I literally couldn't tell you what it's about. So I have that ready to go. Next we have Camilla, one of the great first vampire stories. Obviously inspired Dracula. Not as good as Dracula, but I think it's more ambitious. It's more like tongue in cheek a bit more, and I just love it so much. I'm so due for a reread. And then we have Jules Verne. We have Around the World in 80 Days. Again, look at this cover. Oh my god, the illustrations are literally so perfect. I love it so much. So then we keep on going with Hardy. We got a bit of Hardy because he pumped out a lot of novels. We have A Pair of Blue Eyes here, which is fine. Done nothing for me. I read it and I was like, that's a novel. Just moved on. Then we have, again, the first really, really good Hardy book in my opinion, which is Far from the Madding Crowd. Love so much. His nature writing is it's incredible. And it's like, oh, yeah. Anyway, we have more Hardy. The one no one talks about, The Hand of Alberta. Love it. I think it's really fun, funny, not as serious as, it's very light-hearty, and no one talks about it, but I really did like it. So we have that. And then another author's final novel is here. And this one's Hurt. This is Daniel Deronda by George Eliot. It's incredible. It won't ever be considered as great as Middlemarch because Middlemarch overshadows everything she ever wrote. But Daniel Deronda, oh my god, it's just as great as Middlemarch in my opinion. But so we have that. Then we have some more Wilkie Collins. This is The Law and the Lady, which is really good. Then we have The Way We Live Now by Anthony Trollope, which I haven't read. Then we have Tolstoy, Anna Karenina. Again, this is the more translation. Again, I prefer to Constance Garnett. But I just have that. And then the last one for the shelf is The Prime Minister by Anthony Trollope, and I haven't read it too. So obviously I'm saving all my Trollopes for Victober this year, as you can tell from this in the last video. So last shelf of the 1800s, then we're moving on. And before we get to what's next, I do have three random books here on my shelf that don't fit into the actual size stacks or whatever, so they're kind of just on their own. And those hurt because these are some of my favorite books. This is Bush Ballads and Galloping Rhymes. Adam Lindsay Gordon, great Australian poet from the 1800s. Check him out, he's incredible. Again, Auslit 101, go there. Then Henry Kendall's poetry. So go check those out, Auslit 101. And then the last one I have on this random stack on the bottom shelf is this copy of Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Now, this is an important copy in my life because my best friend absolutely hates Frankenstein, and she annotated it, full notes, written everything, highlighting everything about what's bad about it, and she sent it to me, and it's honestly the copy of Frankenstein I read when I go to it, whenever I do, because it's just so funny and in jokes, and I just love it so much. And yeah, so let's get back to the actual shelves now. So next we have even more Thomas Hardy, could you tell? We have The Return of a Native, which I think is his best written book in terms of just the descriptions of nature is just so incredible. It's just too much. Like, Hardy, how could you write such beautiful nature descriptions but yet be so bad at pacing novels? Anyway, let's keep going. Free Tales by Gustave Flaubert. Just some other stuff he wrote. Flaubert didn't write that much, even though he did have a decently long career. Next, we have The Last Chronicle of Barset by Anthony Trollope. Again, haven't read it. Next, we have Henry James. This is Daisy Miller. I read this years ago. I don't know what to think of Henry James. I haven't read a lot by him, to be honest. He's one of those ones where I hope I like him, but it's been years since I've read Henry James. But we have More Hardy, The Trumpet Major. Really fun, light-hearted novel. It's really good. So we have that. But then we have a brick of a novel right here, and that is The Brothers K. It's, what do you want me to say? It's incredible. It is probably my favorite Dostoevsky. I would take it over Crime and Punishment. But again, I'm looking for a Constance Garnett translation edition of this at some point, because that's what I want all my Dostoevsky to be, really, is just her translations. Next, we have Guy G. Maupassant. This is A Passion Affair and Other Stories. I haven't read him yet. I will get to him soon. He's just someone I haven't gotten to. And then we have Turgenev, First Love and Other Stories, one of the great short story collections, just like a Hunter's sketch album, whatever that is. This is also incredible as well. Essential reading, in my opinion. Then we have Henry James, Portrait of a Lady. I haven't read this one yet. I will get to it soon. There's not many Americans on my 1800 shelves as I really thought there was. And again, not as much poetry. Like, there's no Rossetti's or Elizabeth Browning or anyone like that. Or George Gissing. He's not here. I just haven't found him yet. Then we have More Hardy, Lodikian. This one was fine. I can't remember much of it. I do have a bit of a soft spot for Two on a Tower by Thomas Hardy. It's got a lovely romance to it. I just thought it was a bit more sweeter than some of the other ones we were talking about. But yeah, we have that. And then we Chekhov. Now, I love Anton Chekhov, and get ready because we have a lot of him. We have his Life and Letters my best friend gave me for Christmas, and look how hot he is on that cover. Oh my god. We have that. Then we have a 3-volume paperback translation of his short stories here. This is by River Run. I don't know if they're a worldwide company, but they do classic reprints of early English translations, and these are all Constance Garnett. And Chekhov and Constance Garnett just work so well for me again. But I love that. I love that so much. And I haven't read Chekhov in so long, so I'm thinking I should dedicate a reading month to Chekhov, because I think he really does deserve that. Then we have again more short stories by Chekhov, and some stories in that Penguin one don't show up, aren't in the white ones I just showed. Then we have more Chekhov, his only novel, The Shooting Party, which I love so much. Oh my god, I need to reread it. It's been so long. Then we have, just randomly, Friedrich Eagle's The Origin of Family, Private Property, and the State. Just some random social nonfiction in here. Classic nonfiction. Pick it up. Who do we have next? We have Yeats. I've never read Yeats. I haven't gotten to him yet. I literally couldn't even tell you what he wrote. I know. I just haven't gotten to him yet. And it's because I probably haven't gotten to Yeats because I spend so much time focusing on this next author, and that is the iconic Banjo Paterson. This is my copy I take with me everywhere. It's obviously very much tabbed. You've seen this on this channel over the year, but yeah, Banjo Paterson, incredible. Can do nothing wrong in my opinion. Then we're still going. We have next is The Death of Ivan Ilyich and Other Stories by Tolstoy. This is the River Run edition. This is the translation by Louise and Alma Mod. So we have that. Again, notice I don't think I have childhood, boyhood, and whatever that one is of been growing up. I don't have that one. Then Melville, we got some short stories, collected stories, which are obviously great and incredible. I don't own any of Melville's other novels. The only other Melville novels outside of Moby Dick I would really like is I've got Typee, and I forget the sequel to it. This his second novel. That's the other one I really want. Outside of that, maybe White Jacket, maybe, or I don't know. I think those the only 3 novels I kind of want from Melville. I definitely don't want The Confidence Man or anything like that. But I'll get a poetry collection or letters or something like that. But yeah, I need some more Melville looking at this. Then we have Hardy, more Hardy over here. The Mayor of Casterbridge, really good. Not my favorite Hardy, but still worth a read if you like Hardy. Again, Hardy has some die-hard defenders, and so people are gonna love him. And I wish I was a die-hard Hardy person, but I don't have any of his poetry here. Which again, why don't I have that? Because I keep thinking, I'll just wait till Victober and I'll buy it. But I need to take the do it eventually because it's looking now it's a bit sad. But then we have The Woodlanders again, up with Return of a Native. It's probably my favorite Hardy book. Just so beautifully written. It's incredible. Then we have, what's this one? This is Chekhov's Plays. We finally get to Chekhov's Plays. This has the big, how many editions? There's got one, Ivanov the Seagull, Uncle Venya, Three Sisters, and the Cherry Orchard. So the big four, whatever. This is a school copy I got in an op shop. They annotated the seagull, and that was literally it. And I kind of love that. So we have his plays. I wish I got to learn about Chekhov in high school, but I never got that. We have Henry Lawson, complete short stories, essential reading. This is that and the Banjo Patterson are my go-tos when I go camping or whatever. But I always take that with me. We have that. We're nearly done. Still got a bit more. Then we have some more Henry James. This is The Turn of the Screw and Other Stories with a scary child on the cover. Then we have, what's this one here? I can't even say that. This is more Tolstoy short stories translated by Maud, of course. Next, we have Test of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy, which I don't like at all. I've never gotten the hype for Tess. I think it's such a weak novel. And I've read this book twice. I read it first as a teen, then I read it like 2 years ago. The thing is, everyone talks about how sad Tess of the D'Urbervilles is. And it's pretty much because all the bad things happens to Tess and all that. But because Hardy is so focused on like displaying all the awful stuff she goes through, Hardy doesn't give her a chance to be fleshed out as an actual character. Like, when you get so much bad, it's like so on the nose and so, I can't even describe it. It's so heavy-handed, that's the word, where what else could you tell me about Tess outside of bad stuff happens to her? Like, that's literally all she is, and I have thoughts about Tess, and I've never liked it. But I still have it, and I don't know if I should keep it or not. But then I read a lot of Hardy, so I don't know. But yeah, I've never liked Tess of the D'Urbervilles, like, at all. Then we have a different one. We have The Yellow Wallpaper here by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Really enjoyed it. I haven't read anything else in this collection, but I do like The Yellow Wallpaper. Then we have another bad novel, The Pursuits of the Well-Beloved and the Well-Beloved. Nah, skip it. No one talks about it for a reason. No one talks about it. And then we have, randomly, Arthur Macken's The Great Godpan and Other Stories. I read this for Victober. Incredible read. Look at me reading horror. I rarely read horror. But they were really, really great. So I have that. And then we have Hardy's final novel, Jude the Obscure. Copy and paste my thoughts about Test of the D'Urbervilles into Jude, and that's literally it. Never liked it. Maybe one day it'll turn around and I'll maybe like it, but who knows. The Beetle by Richard Marsh, one of my favourite horror novels. This was published the same time as Dracula. The Beetle at the time actually outsold Dracula, but obviously time has done what time does, and no one talks about The Beetle anymore, but it is such a fun novel. Next we have, of course, speaking of Dracula, we have Dracula, which I love. And I should reread it at some point, because, yeah. I love how I didn't do all these classics at high school, but my god, did I read Dracula for some reason. But anyway, we have Death in Venice by Thomas Mann. Fine. I'm not the biggest Thomas Mann fan, really. I like The Magic Mountain, but I haven't really thought about it since. It didn't really stick with me, and I need to process that a bit more. Then we have more Tolstoy. This is his third novel, the forgotten third novel he wrote called Resurrection, which no one really likes, but I kind of like it. I'm a bit of a Tolstoy simp, and so, yeah, we have Resurrection here. Is it as good as War and Peace and Anna Karenina? Like, no, but like, I still think it's really good. It's a bit too preachy. I know that's weird to say because it's Tolstoy, but like, I feel like Resurrection kind of leans into that more than Anna ever did or whatever. Then we have The Awakening by Kate Chopin. I think that's how you say it, or Can't Get the Glare. But again, I don't have much of these editions because the font is literally so tiny, but I love the pocket size editions. They're so cute. And so I have that. Then the last two books we're literally nearly done is the Joseph Conrad Heart of Darkness. I've only read Heart of Darkness by Conrad. I've never read anything else by him. I really enjoyed it, but I just never moved on. So let me know in the comments, where should I go after reading Heart of Darkness by Conrad, because he wrote so much. I really don't know where to go. Then the last book we have here is Kathleen Mansfield, The Complete Stories. I love Kathleen Mansfield. She's incredible. She's from New Zealand, and just her stories are such full of life, and they're so beautiful, and I love them so much. Check her out if you haven't. I haven't read all of this. I've dipped in and out, but I need to commit to this fully at some point, because she really deserves it. And that is the end of my 1800 shelf. There was a lot here we talked about, but it brought back at the same time a lot of fun memories. And yeah, let me know what you think about the books I've talked about today. And in the next continuation of the bookshelf tours, we will be moving on to my desk, which is the 20th century books. And that's going to be a bit more repetitive than here, but also it's going to be just as fun. But yeah, thank you so much for watching BookTube, and I will see you next time.